Human Rights Writers Association of Nigeria, HURIWA, has called for an immediate and comprehensive investigation into the alarming allegations of organ harvesting and human trafficking across Nigeria, as recently revealed by the National Agency for Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, NAPTIP. The association, through its national coordinator, Emmanuel Owubiko, described the unfolding scandals as a grave national crisis and a multi-billion-dollar criminal enterprise that must be addressed with the full force of the law. The demand followed shocking revelations by NAPTIP's Akwa-Ibom zonal coordinator, Mr. Emmanuel Ahen, who disclosed that certain medical centers in Akwa-Ibom State are complicit in organ harvesting. He also reported that between 2021 and 2024, approximately 750,000 to 1 million children were trafficked in the state for various exploitative purposes, including forced labor, sexual exploitation, and organ harvesting. HURIWA expressed profound disappointment in the failure of past governments to confront these scandals decisively. The association urged the federal government to establish an inter-ministerial panel involving the Ministries of Justice and Health to investigate and persecute offenders. It further condemned the persistent lack of accountability in high-profile cases of organ harvesting that have emerged in Nigeria over the years. We will not rule it out, Barrister Manki, that the issue of this organ harvesting has not been in place before now. It's been going for a very long time, you know, and it cuts across every aspect of the world. I wouldn't just say the country, I wouldn't just say Nigeria, because it's everywhere. You know, for HURIWA, for NAPTIP to call out Akwa-Ibom hospitals of organ harvesting is actually a very strong allegations, because we had this conversation here yesterday with a guest, and he said that before this kind of thing has been, because this allegation can hinder the economic value that comes into the state, it will reduce the things that come into the people that want to investments and whatnot, the good things I want to, you know, and people who want to really, you know, and not want to be in Akwa-Ibom State and all of that. And HURIWA has actually demands for a probe and urges federal government to, you know, come into place and investigate this organ harvesting scandal that has been, you know, put into our face in Akwa-Ibom State. Like I stated, other states are also involved. We had the cases of Kaduna, you know, River State, and other states that caused across, and we've had series of cases about this organ harvesting, even done by individuals, you know. But I want to get your thoughts about this specifically. What do you have to say for this incident that is going on right now?
Well, like I always believe in the principle of base superstructure analysis. Now, it's so sad. If you read that story down, there is a kind of an expose, that story line there, wherein a high-profile individual, I think that happened in Anambra State, and that was brought to the fore, and then arrests were made, and they were expressing deep surprise that the thing just disappeared from the radar in terms of investigation. When I say that Nigeria is a theater of absurdities, sometimes people wonder where I'm coming from. But I just pray, as Nigeria is presently constituted, may Nigeria never happen to you.
Amen.
It's as sad as that. I mean what I'm saying. Very, very sad. Now, like the angle you are looking at, that some people may say that this is demarketing Akwa-Ibom,
yes,
and all whatnot. Well, but will that stop us from saying the truth or facing the reality? In fact, let's face it squarely. If I will address the question, what is it that is emboldening? You talk about hospitals. If you talk about the medical aspect in Akwa-Ibom being hit, I will agree with you entirely. Because a lot of people will be afraid to enter into hospital. Now, this is what is happening. All this thing that is happening in Akwa-Ibom is as a result of the state of our law. I think I spoke to you some time ago about our National Health Act, which I said Bill Gates and the rest of them, under 7th National Assembly, when Akwa-Ibom, who is now serving his 2nd year in UK prison, was the deputy Senate president. That was when I'm sure that they gave them money. Most of those people were sponsored by outsiders. It's an international cartel. There's this guy.
And they say the state of Akwa-Ibom and this particular victim was done with consent.
No. Leave it.
Okay.
What we are saying is that in the National Health Act of Nigeria, as it stands now, it defied the Helsinki Declaration. The Helsinki Declaration says that if my organ is to be taken, it cannot be taken without my consent. The present National Health Act as constituted, which I claim, I insist, was fraudulently passed and imposed on Nigerians, divests the individual who is to lose his or her organ consent from the fellow and place it in the chief medical director of any health facility. Okay, let's say this is a hospital, right? And both of us are brought into this facility. If any of our organ is to be taken, your consent is not needed. It is the consent of the chief medical director of this facility that is needed. That is the state of our National Health Act. And this was done. This is the danger. This is the danger. People don't understand. Once you tamper with the law for your advantage, the consequences will be so devastating than you anticipated. Now look at what is happening now. Medical directors without integrity are now taking advantage of that loophole.
Are you trying to say, in essence, are you supporting NAPTIP that the allegations made against the Akwa-Ibom hospitals are real?
It's all over. In fact, Dr. Njemanze, who was involved squarely, because Dr. Njemanze placed a course on Akwa-Ibom when they were, amending the DC, particularly when they were reading the section that removed the consent of somebody whose organ is to be taken from him or her. He told Akwa-Ibom that he will be the first victim of this law that they are imposing on Nigerians, because he knew the implication. Of course, Okowa of I think Delta State was sitting with him then, and what's the name of the other governor? Ngige. Both of them, they were sitting side by side. They flanked Akwa-Ibom during that session, and Njemanze was there. And if you go to the internet, just Google, do you understand it? You will get it. In fact, Njemanze insists that most of the kidnapping that are happening in the north, this killing by herdsmen, the terrorists, that is anchored on organ harvesting. There was some time ago that they talk about the issue of how many thousands of fresh pennies that were caught on an international ongoing vessel to the west. These things were not fabricated. They are real. The matter died. No investigation was done. So we're just living at the mercy of God. When law fails, these are the things you see. That's why I insisted and I say, may Nigeria, as presently constituted, never happen to you. Because if it does, you will not like it. And it's just bad. What we are hearing now is just a tip of the iceberg of what is happening around. So you ask yourself, that's why a lot of people are rolling out of this thing. Things like this will make you lose faith in the medical facility. Do you understand? And like I always say, if one is to be operated and the person says, I'm not comfortable, it's just like those who have phobia to fly. When they say, I don't want to enter the theater, just pull them back. If they go in, they won't come out. That's the truth about it. So when people now lose faith, because you can be put into a medical facility and then there are organ harvesters around, and they'll just pay the chief medical director and he will give approval that your organ should be taken. And that's the end of it. So we are in a very, very, very precarious situation. This thing is all over. It's not limited. And it's very, very sad. Now the question is, who has the capacity? Let me say, for instance, let's say I'm into drugs. I can't take steps against drug traffickers. Do you understand me? I can't, because where's my conscience? I can't do it. That's why we insist that people with credibility should be in position of leadership. Because there are consequences when you have people who are only interested in money. A leader some time ago was saying about another leader that he knows him very well, that he can betray the mother for money. such serious statement about the character and integrity of a fellow will leave nothing to be desired. And these are the kind of persons you see that fight their way into position of authority. And it's very, very sad. Very, very sad. The question is, what is the way forward? How do we move from here? So unless there is a serious step taken, because this is it. The moment there is no consequences for action, forget it. It will continue. Okay, so
Barrister Mankey, you're saying in essence that this goes across every aspect of the country, not just Akwa-Ibom State. And obviously this has been happening before now. But you're saying in essence that in incidents that has occurred before now, when issues like this come up, they just investigate and let it slide. So there's a possibility that after investigation is done on this issue from the allegation from NAPTIP, that the due process will not be followed, because most of them that are supposed to, handle situations like this are part of the system.
Part of it. That is it. Because that's why when you hear some certain level of crime, the next thing we hear, the victim who would have been useful has been killed. You understand? Okay. Suddenly you just hear that the person died in crossfire.
Okay. So you're not on the part that this is a false allegation coming from NAPTIP.
It's not. Okay.